Hey folks, and welcome to Greg's Golf Shack and to episode 4 of my quest for better golf. I'm calling this one Setbacks and Gains because, just as we all know, golf is a game of ups and downs, and I experienced that in this session. And this is going to cover 3 weeks. I'm a week behind here because I did lose some time due to some injury, and I'm hoping to get back on schedule now. But, it started off week 5. I woke up with some pain in my forearm, some tennis elbow tendonitis issues, which is rather new to me, and I think it's a result of a little bit of excessive practice on the indoor mat. So hopefully it's just a temporary thing, but I had to allow some time for that to rest. But I also wanted to diagnose, what am I doing to cause that? I also went out golfing for an early season round. Now, you need to understand weather and temperatures is still not really suitable here in Newfoundland yet. We're close to the end of May, and there's still a couple of the main golf courses that aren't open, at least for another week. It's just cold temperatures, wet weather, all kinds of things. And I'm not a cold weather golfer. That just exasperates my spinal issues and things. When I get out to a golf course in cold weather, I just cannot turn and just end up relying on my arms, swinging over the top. So a friend invited me out to a 9-hole round that's about an hour drive away from here. And I was on very little sleep. I had to pick my wife up at the airport that morning at 4 a.m. So I probably had about 3 hours of decent sleep. Drove out there, single digit temperatures, couldn't practice or warm up really. And, I started off okay. The swing wasn't really there, but, it starts off with a par 3 and it's a tough course, and I hit the green pin high and early season conditions. So you got to lower the expectations a little bit. But I ended up with like 4 pars, 3 bogeys, and 2 doubles with a couple of lost balls. The round just kept getting worse and worse, and all the things I've been working on just weren't coming out because I was just cold and just uncomfortable. Kind of aggravated one of my situations where I had to go see the chiropractor that week. And, I have to look back on it and look for the positives, but we know how golf was. This was a test on the mental as well, because I felt pretty low after that. Felt, what am I doing? How can I do this? But hey, cold temperatures, lower expectations, first round out, I'm going to figure it out. I have to look at those positives that, hey, I chipped in from deep rough to save a par. I was greenside in 2 on a par 5. I had a couple of really nice pars, and some of the bogeys that I had was just a par putt that didn't go in on early season greens. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but I felt pretty low and I had to get over that. But the other thing that was kind of going on was just this tennis elbow. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, issues with the forearm can be quite common for folks who play a lot of indoor golf. And that's because we're playing on artificial turf, where the club is going down and it's impacting into that ground, which isn't giving away the same way the ground outside in the grass does, where the club goes down through the ground and comes out the other side. Here we're hitting into that ground and the club is just bouncing off it, radiating through the arm. Now, for me, I think it's just temporary because I don't play as much indoor golf as you might think. And this only came up as I was trying to implement these swing changes. So I'm going to have to modify my approach a little bit to improve my swing. Now, in the meantime, I'm just going to take it a little bit easy. I'll work on short game. I'll work on some no contact drills so I can keep the improvement coming. But I am going to have to back off the workouts and the golf swing a little bit so this can get better. I don't want it to get worse. Now, one of the reasons I think this came up is because I was really trying to limit my wrist hinge. So as I got up in my swing, I was really trying to force flexed positions or a flatter wrist and maintain that and hold that down through the swing. What I lost was any sense of relaxation and looseness in my swing. That caused tension, rigid tension, so when I'm hitting down into the ground, there's no give. It's just radiating up and causing a problem. So to help manage that, I reduced the workouts, minimized them a little bit, and I minimized the practice, but I wanted progress to keep coming. So the first thing I kind of did was do what I call this poser drill, which keeps me swinging the golf club but not making impact. So I put a couple of tape lines down on the mat here just so I had a gate, a visual gate of where I would like the club to pass through. and just took different clubs, a pitching wedge, 7-iron, 4 hybrid, sometimes I'd mix it up a little bit, and I'd just do these swings back and forth to get fluid and feel the turn in my body, keep the swing working. That wasn't bothering my tendonitis issue at all, so it felt good to keep swinging. From there, I stepped it up to a little bit of short game practice. That wasn't causing any issues, so I even got in the backyard when the sun was out one day. It's a little bit chilly, but I was able to hit a few chips on the backyard green. I came inside in the sim, and one of my courses I actually turned into a little short game course. So anything from greenside to 70, 80, up to 100 yards. And I played a few of these holes just 50 to 70 yards or so to take a little extra club, chip it up on the green, get a feel for these movements. And you can see here it was going pretty well. The swing was feeling a little stiff, but I started noticing a few things even in these little short game swings where I was kind of leaning away from the ball a little bit at the takeaway, but that came a little bit later. But I was noticing a little kick towards the target at the top where I was kind of leaning away, almost getting into a reverse pivot, even for these short swings. And I wanted to minimize that, but I wanted to see how it affected the full swing. So one day when I was feeling pretty good, I pulled up a par 3 course and just swinging things like 6-iron, 9-iron, these kind of things. I risked a few full swings to see what it looked like without thinking of restricting my swing at all. I just wanted to see. And you can see in these swings that there is quite a lean at the top when I go too far. I'm getting this big swing back and this pop at the top that is just a little bit too much that I don't really need. So I wanted to kind of focus on trying to minimize that and have a smoother swing. So I'm going to focus on a few different things. I'm going to focus on less of this steep swing. I need to improve my turn. Without a good turn, my swing gets steep and my wrists take over to feel like I've got a full backswing. By keeping my swing a little flatter and rotating more around, pushing my trail hip back towards the target and sort of turning my torso around. This is an exaggerated feel, but by swinging around like this, my mind will feel that it is a deeper swing and my wrists don't really need to take over. However, if my wrists do want to release because I'm loose, because I'm relaxed, I'm going to let them. I want a little bit more of my natural swing to occur so I'm not resisting my swing. The other thing, by kind of flattening that swing and getting a better turn, that will really help me get into these follow-through positions where I can release my lead hip a little bit more and rotate through. These are still the main things I'm focusing on, the main things I'm struggling with. This is a new approach that through a learning process, I think is going to take me to the next level. But I also really wanted to work on the release of my hips going through impact. So I started applying a drill just to practice, a visual drill to get me into that position. So one of the drills I'm working on to try to release this lead hip properly, because I have a little bit of flexibility issue, is I want to avoid coming out like this. I don't want to force a hip turn by letting my trail side come out beyond the swing. So I'm putting some alignment sticks down on the ground here, and I'm using that as a visual aid. So when I turn back and through, I'm going to try and keep my knee and my trail hip inside these alignment sticks from that visual perspective. And that kind of helps push my lead hip out of the way. So that's the feel I'd like, and hopefully I can stay within those parameters. Now you can see in that swing, hey, it was a really good release of the hips. Everything was good, but I kind of fell back on some old things with a steep swing and a lot of wrist hinge and not quite as much hip turn back as I'd like. So it's tough to put all these things together. That's what we're working on. I've just got to keep trying. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't want to make injuries for myself, so I don't want to force anything to feel like I'm tense. I still want to be nice and loose. And if some of that wrist hinge happens as a result, I'm okay with it, as long as I can strike the ball good and it goes where I want it to go. and we'll have to do some tests coming up when I turn on the sim and see where it goes. But until now, I'm just looking for that feeling of putting these things together. That felt pretty good. Again, it might have been long, but that was a good strike, and I like where the ball went into the screen. Now, when I look back at that video, there's a lot of good going on for my swing, for progress, especially in that releasing of the hips. I'm in a good position through impact and after impact. That's progress. I'm not going to get hung up that even though I felt like I was going really slow, that the club still got a little bit far behind me. That's where it naturally wants to go, even if I feel like I'm going nice and slow and relaxed. Any slower and my timing and my tempo is going to be off. I've developed this tempo over many years of this miss swing. So I'm making an adjustment. It's not as bad as it was, but any idea of shortening my swing or slowing it down and stopping it early is just going to interrupt my swing process and cause a lot of nasty impact positions. Again, I don't want to overhaul my swing completely. I want to find what's natural, what's comfortable, and improve upon that. So from that point, I wanted to fire up another sim course, executive course with mainly par 3s, short par 4s, and see what the swing would look like and see if I could start adopting those elements into the swing. And my main goal was to take extra club. I wanted to be able to swing a little bit smoother, take extra club into the hole, like a club or two more than I normally would, to see if I can reduce that little pop I was getting at the top of the swing. And it was going really well. I really minimized that little shift at the top of the swing, but this is where I started noticing a little bit more that shift away at the takeaway. And this little shift back, it's not that big of a deal because it could just be sort of a trigger for me, but I still have to find my way back to impact, which results in a lateral shift back. So that can create some inconsistency in my ball striking. Here it's working really well. I'm swinging nice and smooth, but I start to notice that after a while and straighten it up, and I was able to reduce that slide in the takeaway. Now, when it comes to something like the driver, I don't mind if there's a little bit of a shift in the driver. It's a big club, but what I really wanted to make sure is that I wasn't kind of sliding around or sliding back after impact. I wanted to make sure I was staying centered throughout my swing, and I was able to do that here. So there's a lot of really good positives going on with the swing. Still some work to do. I can still improve it, and I'm going to be doing that next week. I'm feeling a lot better physically and think I'm going to take it by storm. But even this session, I stopped filming with the camera and I just played out the rest of those 18 holes on that executive course, and it just kept getting better and better. And it was just feeling really good, taking extra club, why not? And I was really knocking down pins. You can see here's a little short par 4. I just took a fairway wood off, and fairway wood is one of my weaker clubs, but just a smooth swing with it, and it just goes right by the pin. It was pretty nice. And a little early in the round, I got to this hole and hit a nice one, took extra club, hit this nice little par 3 shot, and wouldn't you know it, it goes in the hole. My first hole-in-one ever on a simulator, and I didn't have the swing camera rolling. But hey, that gave me confidence that things are on the right track with the swing. I've got some more things that I'm going to implement as I'm getting into this full swing, feeling a lot physically better. I'm really excited for next week and the remainder of this little quest. I think it's going to be really cool. Also related to golf, I've ordered some new golf clubs. I'll unveil those when they come, but I made sure I ordered the right shafts that would suit me. I got regular flex shaft. I've always swung with stiff flex shaft, and that's what has caused some of my casting of the club. I don't have a fast swing speed. I'm a slower swinger, and because the club is not releasing itself because it doesn't have that whippier shaft, I'm doing that with my hands to try and close the face at impact, and that's causing some trouble. So I want to be able to swing smoother and let the club actually unfold or release through impact, closing that face and giving me more consistent golf shots. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm getting everything from wedges to irons to a hybrid to a fairway wood to a driver. So everything but the putter I'm going to be replacing, and I look forward to doing an unboxing, maybe some reviews of those clubs. So that's coming up soon. Another thing in the golf world, why I've been a little bit busy, is I'm starting work as the assistant golf professional at a local golf course, Glendenning Golf. Putting in a few hours a week there, helping with some of the leagues and different things around the club. And it's just an exciting opportunity to be involved in the world of golf and get connected to the golf community. And it's going to be fun. I've also been very busy with lessons. Some people have been coming in and I've been teaching some lessons here, and I've been hearing some great feedback from some of my students or clients, I guess you could say. It's pretty exciting. I'm nervous to go golfing with them because they're going to outplay me, but this is a lot of fun and good to hear. So things in the golf world are going good. I had a bit of a setback, but we've restarted and we're going to get on top of it. Now, as I mentioned, workouts and exercise kind of scaled back a little bit just to try to moderate some of this injury I had. But, it's slowly progressed. I was still doing things, just not as much, but I'm back to it full. I mean, even today I had a really good workout. I see stepping it up is the option going forward. So I'm looking forward to that. I did want to share with you a little bit about the diet routine that I'm going on. I mentioned in the first video, my wife and I are plant-based, 95% plant-based. We're not religious about it, but we prefer it. But sometimes you'll buy something that might have a little cheese ingredient in it or some butter or something like that. And the very odd time we like to eat some fish. You can't live in Newfoundland and not want to eat some fresh fish. So the odd time we might have some cod or salmon, every 3 weeks or so we'll have something like that. So I wanted to share with you some of the meals that I eat throughout this process, but this is really our regular diet. And every morning starts off with a bowl of oatmeal, not just a boring bowl of oatmeal. We put some flax seeds in there and some chia seeds and some nuts and either blueberries or apples and honey. And that's kind of a nice fibrous, a little bit of protein every morning. My wife and I share that. For lunch, if I have a lunch, depending on the time of day and things, I like to have wraps. My wife will make homemade falafel with hummus, some vegetables. I'll put a little bit of sriracha on there for a little bit of flavor. The odd time I'll stick some banana peppers on for a little bit of bite, but the wraps are just a great way to give me energy for the rest of the day. Now, as far as our suppers go, we actually mix it up quite a bit. And for being plant-based, there's no shortage of different things we could make. So just an example of some of the things we were making, one of the weeks here was my wife makes this sticky tofu stir fry where the tofu has a nice sort of sweet and sour Thai flavor. We can put all kinds of vegetables in there. Sometimes we'll put it on rice or noodles. Very often the noodles are like rice noodles because my wife is gluten-free as well. So, that is just a really good filling meal. Lots of protein with the tofu and things. Sometimes we'll keep it easy, just some beans, potato, and spinach. Put it all together with some flavoring, and it's really tasty. Lots of protein with the beans and things. We'll even do a burger night. Burgers and fries. Sometimes I have fries. In this case, this is a Beyond Beef burger, made out just with some regular vegetables and things, a nice salad, and a sweet potato on the side. Very filling, very tasty. Sometimes my wife will make these cool seasoned, almost like chicken strips out of tofu. They're so good. That's what I'll put on my wrap sometimes, but sometimes we'll just have it on the side like this with some rice. This is a cool little Brussels sprout mix she made with some onions in it and some smoked paprika sauce that she made. Really tasty. We'll have pasta nights too, rice or chickpea pasta, just with regular pasta sauce. We'll have some Beyond Beef meatballs in there, spice it up all nicely, and just a regular pasta night. And then, of course, occasionally we'll have some fish. So, this week we had some salmon with some beans and potatoes and a nice salad. And this is really how we eat on a regular basis. It feels filling. I don't feel like we're missing out on anything. There's lots of other menu dishes that we have, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything at all. I take supplements B12, I take some iron. We both take a lot of vitamins and supplements regularly just to keep on top of things and try to stay healthy. So that's the kind of diet we're on as we're trying to exercise and live healthy and good. That's the end of that update. I actually thought it would be kind of short, but a lot going on. And even though I had some setbacks, I feel really good about going forward. I kind of found something in the swing, and that little hole-in-one gave me some incentive that I'm on the right track. Things are working good. I have new drills that I'm implementing this coming week to really dial in the swing. And we're getting to that point where I've got to start full swinging and playing the game. So I look forward to informing you of all that in the next episode. Until then, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Greg's Golf Shack.